Okay, let's just get right into it. We are living through something that some people have called a supersonic tsunami. It's this massive wave of technological change that's moving so fast, it's literally reshaping our entire world as we speak. So, what do we do? Well, this is your survival guide.
You know, back in the day, the famous CEO of GE, Jack Welch, had this warning for companies. He said, if the metabolism of your company is slower than the outside world, you're dead. The only question is when. Well, guess what? That's not just for companies anymore. That's for all of us. The speed of change happening out there is just accelerating at a pace that's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
And if you want a stat to really blow your mind, check this out. ARK Invest projects that by 2028, that's just a few years away, the amount of text AI writes in a single year will be more than everything humanity has ever written in our entire history. I mean, just pause and think about that. That's the scale we're dealing with. It's not just getting faster, it's an explosion.
So what happens, right? What happens when this technological tsunami slams into a world that was built for calm, predictable seas? Well, things start to break. All the systems, all the institutions that our society is built on, they were designed for a much, much slower, linear world. And honestly, they just can't keep up. I mean, just look around. Think about our most important institutions. We're talking healthcare, journalism, the legal system, government, even education. They're all these big, centralized, top-down structures. They're built to be stable, but they are so slow. And now they're cracking under the pressure because they can't possibly adapt to tech that changes literally every week, not every decade.
And you know, for almost 100 years, our entire corporate world was basically built on one single idea from way back in 1937. It's called Coase's Law. And the gist of it's simple. It's cheaper and more efficient to do things inside a big company. That's why we have these giant, centralized corporations. It just made sense.
Well, that's over. Technology has completely flipped that idea on its head. Today, it's actually cheaper, it's faster, and way more effective to find talent and resources outside the company walls. So that entire model, the one that built the whole 20th century economy, yeah, it's pretty much obsolete.
And look, this isn't just happening in some corporate boardroom. This is personal. When the world you thought you knew starts to dissolve around you, what happens? It creates fear, it creates anger, it creates all this social friction. As Peter Diamandis says, this transition, this in-between period, it's going to be bumpy. We're going to see a lot of social unrest.
So now we get to the really wild part. This pressure isn't just changing society, it's splitting it apart. It's creating what some people are calling the great forking of humanity. We're not all on the same road anymore. We're about to head down some fundamentally different paths. Okay, so the first big split, it's happening right now. It's a choice. Are you using these incredible new AI tools to create something, to build, to innovate, to solve problems? Or are you just passively consuming, letting the algorithms feed you entertainment? That choice, right there, is the first fork in the road.
The next fork gets even crazier. We're on the verge of what scientists call longevity escape velocity. That basically means for every year you live, science adds more than a year to your lifespan. So, society is going to split. There will be those who choose to radically extend their lives and those who don't. A huge divide is coming.
And then there's the big one, the one that sounds like it's straight out of a movie. We're talking about integrating our brains directly with AI. Brain-computer interfaces. Some people are going to choose to literally connect their minds to the cloud to achieve a kind of super intelligence. And that will create the most profound split of all, the enhanced versus the unenhanced. And trust me, this isn't a movie plot anymore. It's on the horizon.
But here's the most important part. You are either the disruptor or you are being disrupted. There is absolutely no middle ground anymore. This isn't some far-off, distant future we're talking about. This choice is right here, right now, for every single one of us. You have to decide which path you're on, because just standing still, that's not an option anymore.
Okay, I get it. Hearing all this, it's easy to feel kind of powerless, right? It's just so much change. But here's the good news. The solution, the real toolkit you need to navigate all this, it's not some fancy piece of tech. It's inside your own head.
So let's just stop for a second and ask a really important question. In a world of infinite intelligence, where AI can pretty much answer any question, what's your most valuable asset? What's the one thing that will actually set you apart?
It's your mindset, plain and simple. It's not about how much money you have or who you know or even what cool gadgets you own. It's about how you think.
how you approach the future, how you view change, and where you see yourself in all of it. That's the one thing you're in complete control of.
And to really thrive, not just survive, you need 4 key mindsets. First, you need deep curiosity. You have to want to learn constantly. Second, you need to be purpose-driven. You need a why. Third, an abundance mindset, seeing all this change as a massive opportunity, not a threat. And finally, agility, the ability to pivot and adapt, because the change is not stopping.
Okay, so what actually happens when you start living with this kind of mindset? Well, for one, it completely blows up the old idea of what a career is. It unlocks this incredible potential to shift from being just a consumer to being a true creator.
And let's be brutally honest for a second. The old social contract is dead. That whole idea that you go to school, then college, get a good job, and work there for 40 years, that path that defined success for our parents' generation, it's gone. It's buried.
So what's the new model? The only real career of the future is entrepreneurship. And hold on, that doesn't mean you have to be some tech billionaire in Silicon Valley. With AI as your co-pilot, almost anyone, and I mean anyone, can take their unique passion, their purpose, and turn it into a business, a product, a service. This is the great democratization of creating value.
Okay, so if we can get through this crazy, turbulent time, what's waiting for us on the other side? Well, a lot of people in tech are calling it the age of abundance, a future where what it means to be human and what we value fundamentally shifts. And here's the core idea. Think of everything we do as either doing or being. The doing is all the repetitive stuff, logistics, calculations, manual labor. AI and robots are going to take over all of that, which frees us up for the being part, the creativity, the human connection, the experiences, the purpose. That's where our value is going to be.
So what does that actually look like? What's going to retain its value? Well, it's all the stuff that technology can't truly replicate. Real, in-person, human experiences. That feeling of being in a community. Art and music that just hits you in the soul. You know, the more digital and virtual our lives become, the more we're going to crave what's real. And that's where the new economy is going to emerge.
You know, there's that great Mark Twain quote, "There are 2 important days in your life, the day you are born and the day you find out why." Well, this whole exponential age we're entering, it's kind of pushing all of us towards that second day. It's forcing us to figure out our why and then actually live it.
So that brings us to the final and most important question, and this one's for you. As technology takes care of more and more of the doing, the logistics of just living, how are you going to choose to be? What is the unique human thing that only you can bring to the world? Because that answer, that's what will define not just your future, but the next chapter for all of us.